Good afternoon, viewers. So today I'm back again with another video, and this time around I don't want to talk about languages per se. I want to touch on something quite important, something that has been helping me in my something that has been helping me with my life. So I figured why not discuss that with you, and maybe you can also indulge in that and see if it will also improve your life. And that is about going to the exercising, going to the gym, working out. There was a time in my life I never bothered about working out because I figured out it wasn't worth it. The main reason was because if you do work out and you stop working out at some point, you are going to lose all those gains. So why partake in something when you know if you stop doing this thing, then you are going to lose what you've already gained. So that discouraged me anyway. I didn't start working out until 2016. That was the first time I felt that I needed to enroll in a gym if possible and start working out seriously. The first time was in 2000 and I think it was in 2012, but it was fuzzy. My brother bought a dumbbell. He brought a dumbbell home, and I would try to lift it up, but I wasn't quite serious with that one then. But in 2016, when I traveled to Cameroon. Yes, I traveled to Cameroon in 2016 because I was practicing French then, and I wanted to live with these guys. I didn't want this language to be something that was taught. I want it to be something I want it to be a lived experience. So I found my way in 2016 in Cameroon, and there the person I stayed with had a shop, and each morning we'll come out and then we'll bring out the goods. He was selling rugs and carpets. So each morning was an exercise. Each night moving those things in was an exercise, and I didn't I didn't I didn't understand what it was doing to my psyche. But one thing I noticed then was at some point the belt I tied my belt could no longer fit me. As a matter of fact, for whatever reason it spoiled. But I didn't consider the fact that it could be because I was getting bigger. So I just bought a new belt and then continued with my life until I got back to Nigeria, and everybody was surprised and everybody was amazed, and they were telling me how are you this big, and how are you this how are you this big relatively. That was when I knew that I could really get big. As a child and as a teenager, I always thought that my nature, that I'm on the slimmer end of I'm on the slimmer side, that there is nothing I could do to bulk up. But after I came back from Cameroon, I realized that was a big lie. And if I truly eat well and I sleep well, that I would bulk up well. So that was around 2016, late 2016, early 2017. Okay, early 2017, pretty much, when I came back from Cameroon. I came back from Cameroon late December 2016, and then around January 2016, I tried my best to lift weights. So I went back. I was at home at this point. This was before my I went back. Well, I went back home, and then I had all those dumbbells my brother built then, and I knew I had to start making use of those dumbbells. But for funny enough, I started slimming down. I think it was because I wasn't eating well and I had a lot on my mind, and I was also extremely busy. But the main thing was I wasn't eating well. I wasn't truly eating well. So I started slimming down, and because I found it contradictory to be exercising when you are not eating well. So at that level, I stopped eating well. Plus, I haven't figured out, and I think this part is important. I hadn't figured out exactly what it entailed, what and what do I need to eat. Because when the main thing that discourages people from going to the gym is the idea that, hey, I'm not feeding well, so since I'm not feeding well, there's no need exercising. But there's really a way around that. Obviously, there are two sets of people who go to the gym: people who are big already, and then they are trying to slim down, and then you have people who are slim, like myself, like me, who are trying to bulk up and also in the process of bulking up get some muscles. So there is always a way out. But I wasn't working with that mindset then, obviously, because I hadn't tried a lot. So immediately I found that I was slimming down, and I could no longer lift as much as I would lift the day before. I started losing interest, and before I knew what what was up, I already gave up. So 2016 was the first day. It was the first time. 2017, rather early 2017, was around the time I tried to go to the gym serious. Tried to work out, and but it didn't work out anyway. So in 2022, late 2022, now I was in medical school. A friend of mine called me and told me that and asked me if we could go to the gym. I told him sure, no problem. So I went there, and I got addicted. I got addicted to the gym, and then I started working out, and then but this time around I was more conscious and conscientious of my actions. I tried my best to know the things that how first of all do I handle my protein intake, because that was the main issue I faced as a student. How do I handle my protein intake? And I figured, or I discovered, I had to go online and start researching some things, and I realized that egg is one thing. Okay, I can I can buy a crate of egg and then be taking them, which obviously will not solve the the protein requirement. It will not solve the protein requirement, because I believe as I weighed at some point, I weighed 60, I weighed, was it 62 kg or so, and in order I needed 62 grams of protein every day, if I'm not mistaken then, if I'm not mistaken. So but egg, I think egg contains 4 grams. One egg contains, is it 4 grams of protein? I'm not sure, but I did that calculation then. And then I settled that eating 2 eggs every day. But then I knew it was not enough. So I was still looking for something that had more protein in it. And I found soybeans. So what I did then was to buy a pinta of soybeans, and then or the one that is already grounded. Then I would take 3 scoops every day. It doesn't quite solve my protein requirement still. When you add everything up, I don't think it's still up to that 62 grams that is required. That's when you add 2 eggs a day, and then 3 scoops of soybeans. When you add those things, I doubt it is still up to up to the daily requirement. But then I eat a lot of beans as well as a student. Okay, I would eat beans and rice, and then I would eat soup and all that. Okay, but I try to channel all my money to getting the crate of egg first of all, and then getting the soya beans, and then eating more of rice and beans, and then beans, and then the day soup, and trying my best to eat 3 times daily. Okay, even when you add those things, when you do those calculations, when you do that calculation, I don't know. It's funny how I don't have the values now, because I'm not even working with the values at some point. I mean, it's funny how I don't have the exact values now for the protein, for my protein requirement, because at some point I started seeing progress. Okay, and immediately I started seeing immediately I saw progress, I just stuck with what was working. Obviously, it could be the case that I'm not getting the complete protein requirement, but I'm seeing progress. As a student, that was completely fine with me. I couldn't push myself any further. I was already taking soybeans. I was already taking 3 scoops of soybeans every day, 2 eggs every day, and I eat a lot of beans and rice, and I was seeing progress. So even though the protein requirement, I might not be reaching them, or I might be, I'm not quite sure, but I saw progress and it made me happy, and I stuck with that. Okay, so that was what I did as a student, and then I eliminated every other unnecessary expenses, and it made me happy. I wouldn't eat any snacks like meat pie. I didn't eat any of those. I still don't eat those things. I didn't take any soft drinks. There are little things that suck you, that consume your money, that you're not aware of, that you could easily eliminate. So I tried my best to eliminate all those things, and channeled my energy, or channeled my finance to eating a balanced diet, and paying, obviously going to the gym and exercising. So I would encourage you to start going to the gym, obviously, because you become, as a student, because it makes you conscious. It elevates your awareness of the things you put in your mouth. You become conscious of what you put in your mouth. Then secondly, you feel happier, especially when you start seeing those gains. You feel happier, you feel better. As a medical student, whenever I would read whenever I would read anything in the text, and then they say, okay, they say something about obesity, they say something about dying young, they say something about exercise, not exercising, I feel happy. The reason I feel happy is because I know, or rather I knew then, the reason I felt happy was because I ate well, I I slept well. Funny enough, I slept well. I never read I, I never read at night. At night, in quotes. What I mean by at night is from 12 midnight till 5 a.m. and all those things. I don't read like that. I always make use of my days, and then at night I sleep well. And then I take my siesta. I took my siesta then, and I still take my siesta now. So back to what I was saying. Whenever I would come across something in the textbook talking about people dying young because they don't exercise, I feel happy, because I know I'm not part of those people. It makes me happy. Fills me with joy, right? So it is a mop that removes the debts in your mental space. You are able to think clearly. To to you are able to live better. There is this deep-seated happiness that doesn't this deep-seated happiness and joy coming from within, and it it can never be compared to anything coming from the external. You can never compare that to whatever joy you get from watching football, or playing football. No, no, not definitely not playing football. You get it from playing football because you're exercising, but watching football, or doing some, or talking, there is really there is really a way it reconfigures your mind and makes you happy. So I would encourage you to start going to the gym. If you can't go to the gym, because there is still that challenge of not having the money, so not being able to go to the gym. If you can't go to the gym because you truly don't have the money, Then it happened to me at some point. At some point, I ran out of funds, and what I would do at that time was to make use of my body, because I'm still carrying weights. And then I've not checked my weight recently, but I think it should be about 65 or thereabout, 65 kg or thereabout. So I would do press ups, because press up is definitely a body exercise, and you are building your chest, you are building your triceps. So I would do press ups for my triceps. At some point, I started doing pikes push up. Pikes push up is a variation of press ups, just to improve, to work on my shoulders, and I saw progress. I saw progress, although at some point I had to stop. I had to stop because of my eyes. It affected my eye. It affected the way I see. I felt the blood pressure, my the the blood pressure, my ocular blood pressure was high. So at some point I had to stop it, because I didn't know if it was healthy for me. I went online, I read, they said it is healthy and there is no downsides, but I didn't feel that. I didn't like that exercise anyway. But there are so many people who do pikes push-ups. You can incorporate a pikes push-up for your shoulder. You can incorporate you can do squats. You can just do squats. You don't need to lift anything. You can just your body weight and do as many repetitions as possible. Okay, and then to isolate the triceps, you can do dips. I did dips then, and what I would do is my reading table. Funny enough, the seat I'm making this video, I'm sitting on now. I'm making this video with. I would I would place my hand like this. I would place my hand like this and then step out and then start dipping. Start dipping. So you can't. There's nothing you cannot do if you really want to. There is always a solution, my friend, to every obstacle, to every issue. You just have to decide that this is what you want to do. And I I implore you to check it, to work out today. And it is addictive. Once you start working out and you start seeing progress, it is addictive. You will never want to go back again. So you will never want to stop working out. So begin that workout today. Exercise. If you can go to the gym, enroll in a gym. If you can't, then do body workouts. You will still see the gains. And then when you can enroll in a gym. So that's pretty much what I have for you this afternoon. Are there any downsides to working out? Are there downsides to working out? Obviously, apart from the money you spend to go to the gym, there are really no downsides to working out. You spend well on food, but that's not a downside. The like they say, whatever money you spend on what you eat is never a waste of money. So it's not there's no true downside to it. Okay, yeah. So for the number of days I would go to the gym, there was a time I used to go 5 times in a week, and then at some point I stopped. I couldn't cope with the 5 times, and then I dropped it to 4 times in a week, and then from 4 times in a week to 3 times in a week. And I'm telling you, even at 3 times in a week, you still definitely will see progress. 3 times in a week, you will see progress. I saw progress with 3 times in a week. I would go Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Sometimes I will switch it up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But the idea is I would go to the gym 3 times in a week. Okay, then if I wanted, I would just make it 4. But most times it's 3 times in a week. However, now that I'm done with medical school, I'm going to improve. I'm going to try to push it up to 4 times in a week. So that's my message to you this afternoon, my friend. Okay, enroll in a gym, exercise, work out. If you can't enroll in a gym, then work out at home, and you will thank me later. See you.